have Antoine Louis. He writes for a living, but his passion is food. Antoine, welcome.
Thank you.
What kind of writing do you do, Antoine?
Well, I write exclusively on food and various aspects of it. I write about ingredients. I edit recipes for various publications. I look at the backgrounds of food, the histories, the origins, everything about food, really.
Okay, we've been talking of lots of spices. What do you have to say about spices and herbs? People often confuse about spices and herbs, don't they?
Well, let's put it this way. Spices are always kind of associated with something that's exciting, something that's passionate. I mean, you have the Spice Girls. Do you have any herb girls? Come on. But seriously, there is a distinction between spice and herbs, though it's kind of fuzzy, really, to speak of. But I think the most important thing is that herbs would refer to the leafy parts of plants, of aromatic plants, while spices can be any part of them, really. For instance, cinnamon is the bark of the tree. Pepper is the bud. The turmeric comes from the root. So it comes from any part. Also, spices have far more stronger flavors than herbs.
Okay, and what's your favorite spice?
Well, I don't really have a favorite spice, but I think pepper comes the closest to my favorites.
To write to or to eat?
Well, to eat as well as a flavor.
And what do you have to say about Indian food, the way world looks at it?
Well, for one thing, I don't believe in an Indianness of food. I don't think there's such a thing as Indian food.
Right.
We're made up of so many communities, of so many cultures, of so many regions. It would be more correct to look at these properly and to look at Maharashtrian food or Bengali food or Punjabi food, for instance. That really isn't something that you can describe as Indian food.
So what essentially you are trying to say is that we should look at the regional Indian foods.
Absolutely, very definitely. And I think that is something that, especially abroad, that people are not aware of. They continually mistake Indian food for pungent food.
Right.
And that's quite absurd because you have a lot of cultures which don't use spice, for instance, or spice their food very lightly.
Yes.
And I think that really is the key element of Indian food, spice, not pungency.
Right.
Spice, which is wholesome, which has depth, which has layers. Pungency is one-dimensional.
Yes, and the heat that Indian spices bring, it's not the heat on your tongue, it's the heat here, heat within.
In the belly, absolutely.
That's what the real heat is. And these spices and herbs, the medicinal values, we are now rediscovering all of that now. But I think that's something which is completely Indian in that sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Most of our regional foods also use similar spices, though they may use it in different proportions. But most regional Indian foods also deal with same set of spices, I guess.
More or less.
More or less.
More or less, though there are, of course, regional spices as well, yes, which don't appear on the national scene. But it's also interesting to look at spice combinations like the garam masala. I mean, you have Kashmiri garam masala, you have Punjabi garam masala.
Oh, in South also you can have 500 different types of garam masalas.
Really?
Yeah, because your garam masala is different from mine, and mine is better than yours.
Oh, absolutely.
No, that's what I have experienced in my professional years of cooking. And since I have to travel, I meet different people, and everyone has their own set of spices, the way they grind them, they're very possessive. And that's what is the uniqueness about our Indian food, whether we look at complete Indian food or regional Indian foods. The blends that we make, they're completely unique, and it's mind-boggling to deal with such spices.
Things like curry powder. I can't imagine any Indian home having curry powder.
I think it's a convenience spice. Yeah, I think it's more
curry is like every home will have their own kind of blends of spices developed for the palate of their own families, of their own communities, and it suits them perfectly.
Yeah, I think through this show we'll try to tell our viewers more about curry powder. Maybe not today, but yes, I think it's a very valid point where curry powder, the way world looks at it and the way India looks at it, we need to enlighten people more about this. But anyway, Antoine, it was really nice talking to you, and I wish you all the best, and I hope you never have to eat your words, but eat my food sometimes.
I will, definitely. Thank you for having me.